Welcome to this How to Use Video section for the Bible chart that you may have purchased or are considering to purchase under the tab here called Bible Chart. And you'll find these videos under this tab menu called How to Use Videos. Like it says, there's a wealth of information at your fingertips in this section. It is busy, and so the video is trying to help unbusy that for you. And if you look at this section, you will notice that there are 19 Bible doctrines in the chart itself. But returning to the Welcome to these videos section, my purpose here is to help you locate and maximize every part on this chart, front and back, to share the three angels' messages with all the world very effectively. So the first item of these videos is, as we'll scroll down and look, this is a 5-minute video that is an overview of the entire chart. And that excerpt is taken from the Daniel 2 DVD that is Christ-centered and draws people to Him in a deeper love relationship than they perhaps have seen in the book of Daniel and those prophecies. On the front, you will also find an overview with 11 sections that are charted in different colors on the front of the chart. You will also notice that we will have an abbreviation section that shows the 19 abbreviations I used throughout the chart. Then the first section, and let's scroll up here so you can see all 11. The first section of the 11 on the front talks about God our Father. The second section talks about God's plan of salvation, and I have 4 main points under there. The Messiah, the new or everlasting covenant of grace, types and shadows, and then the greatest love story ever told, which is, of course, the plan of redemption. The third section is the genealogy from Adam to Christ, and there are a lot of interesting insights tucked into that genealogy. The fourth section is the judges, which will be shown in detail. In other words, there'll be an entire box listing every one of the judges and found in the book of Judges. And then there will also be a to scale section showing the judges as it is seen in the genealogy. The fifth section is a listing of all the prophets and kings of Judah and Israel, both in detail, listing all of the kings and all the prophets, as well as having their chronological listing to scale in this genealogy from Adam to Christ. The sixth section is talking about the Bible, the books of the Bible, the persons who wrote the Bible, etc. The seventh section is a list of 7 nations I have listed on the chart in world history. The 8th section is 5 parables that have prophetic significance. Thus it's on the front of this chart, overlaying prophecies from Daniel and Revelation. The 9th section is the signs of the times chapters in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. John, of course, has the entire book of Revelation, 22 chapters, in fact, for his book on the signs of the times. So the signs of the times will be Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21. The 10th section on the front is talking about the prophecies of Daniel, chapters 1 through 12. The 11th and final section on the front is about Revelation 1 through 22. So now let's scroll down to the back of the chart. We will notice that we have 10 panels here. The first 2 panels, A and B, describe the plan of redemption and assurance of salvation together, wrapped around the sanctuary. Panels C, D, and E are three keys helping explain the book of Daniel. This is not an entire list of everything that a person can find about the book of Daniel, but they are key items that if you understand these, you will notice that Daniel will open up more understandably to you. The first of these three, panel C, is showing that the focus of the entire dream of Daniel is that stone. Panel D has these three items. It takes the expression kingdom of God and shows it comes in two phases, the kingdom of grace and the kingdom of glory. The second section is dealing with the 7 annual Sabbaths of Leviticus 23. There are pictures for each one of those Sabbaths. The third and final item on panel D is parallels between two sanctuaries, the earthly copy and the heavenly original. Panel E is the third of the three keys for Daniel, and it lists 5 additional keys to explain the beauties to be found in the book of Daniel. Part 1 is talking about the parts of Daniel. Key 2 is showing the worship theme is there in Daniel, showing that there is going to be that same theme in the last days. The third key is what I call a retrace, repeat, and enlarge principle. In other words, Daniel will go over certain things and then enlarge them. The fourth key is a few prophetic symbols. The fifth key is an outline of Daniel's prophecies. Next, we have 2 panels for Revelation, panels F and G, and they cover 7 keys. Again, this is not an exhaustive list of things you can find in the book of Revelation to explain the beauties to be found there. These are simply 7 that I have picked that help me explain the book of Revelation more easily. The first key is to show that the book of book of Revelation can be divided into 2 basic divisions. The second key is a chapter outline. Key 3 is a sanctuary connection. Panel G continues these keys. Key 4 is, again, the retrace, repeat, and enlarge principle. Key 5 is Old Testament links. In other words, John will point his readers back to an example in the Old Testament, say the fire coming down from heaven at Elijah's time, to look at issues there, then bring them forward to the calling of fire down out of heaven in Revelation 13, 11 through 18. Key 6 talks about the worship theme that will be seen in the end times. And key 7 is one we should expect. The key theme here is character, namely to be like Jesus. When we go through the book of Daniel and Revelation, we should notice Christ coming forward in each area. The next panel, panel H, is discussing Sabbath or Sunday with the question, does the Bible teach Sunday is sacred or the 7th day of the week? Panel I is titled The State of the Dead with the question, does the Bible teach the natural immortality of the soul? And the final panel is panel J, the year-day principle. There are these 3 sections, 2 building blocks that show us the year-day principle is biblical. The second section is once a person sees the year-day principle, in other words, a day in prophecy stands for a literal year on the calendar. A person naturally asks, does that mean that every time frame in Daniel or Revelation is to be interpreted symbolically? This section says no. There are some literal and some symbolic, and the context will tell us which is which. That's what that section is about. The third section in panel J is talking about the 1260-day phrase, is the same as the 42-month phrase, and that's the same as the time, times, and half a time phrase in the book of Revelation. The remaining item will be an index. So hopefully each one of these items will be explored in depth so you can grasp and locate every item in this chart front and back so you can share the three angels' messages with the world more effectively. God bless.